So that's cool. You have a dog of your own, Jermaine?
No, I do not. My wife is actually highly allergic to animals. She's willing to get what they say hypoallergenic dog, but I don't believe those. If they have hair, you're going to be sneezing.
What's a hypoallergenic dog?
So there's dogs that are breeded that don't have hair dander, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Supposedly, but my thing is if you're highly, allergic to animal hair, and the animal has hair, you're going to be allergic to it.
You're going to get a little something.
You're going to get a little something. So I think, paying $3,500, $5,000 for these dogs is not worth it. And on top of that, I'm going to be taking care of it because they're not going to take care of it. I don't have time.
That's funny. That's the exact same reason my dad said we couldn't get a dog. He's like, it's real fun to play with.
Yeah,
Still starts to go in the bathroom. Got to go for a walk in the morning.
Yeah. And you got to walk in at 6 a.m. Nah, I got enough jobs already.
Fair enough. It was funny when we saw that girl walking with the huge dog. It was making me think about discipline, right? When you have a really wily, maybe that even applies to a person. Like if a kid's really wily and crazy and the parent doesn't have a handle on him, the kid's going to kind of be running circles around the parent.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I have a 5-year-old son, Jaden, and he is, I would say, he is a firecracker. Like a ball of energy. And I legit have to really bring him in like, Jaden, relax. It's okay, we're cool, we're calm. He's like, all right, Dad, I'm cool, I'm calm, because he'll get excited. He'll get excited, like we go to the park, we'll do whatever, and he's ready to go. He's on go mode, right? No stopping this kid. And I was like, relax, buddy, we cool, we got all day, right? Take your time. He's like, all right, Dad, just look at me, you can see the calm in his face. He's like, okay, Dad, we got all day? So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go play over here first. It's just about giving that discipline. No, it's okay to be, go into it as ease. You don't gotta go straight into it, right?
Like a bat out of hell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I figure I can get my hands around him now and kind of go into his younger years, and then his adult age, he'll be able to control it, right? Because I feel like a lot of these kids are, like you said, don't have discipline. The parents, they put discipline in them. It's like, oh, he's energetic, let him run. But when they take that same process into their adult life, it doesn't work.
Just let it run.
Yeah, right? It doesn't work. You need some type of structure. So I feel like, or then it runs into their life, and now it's like, oh, you need to be on, this downer because you're too hyper as an adult, right? Because sometimes they didn't get that structure when they were young. I understand kids got to be kids. People have different levels of energy, but when they give them structure, they understand how to exert energy when it's supposed to be exerted and needed. And I feel like I'm trying to give him that, so as an adult, he's not putting on any meds.
Fair enough, man. What do you think are the keys to going to adulthood without needing meds? Oh, and real quick, do you mind taking it and bringing it even a little closer? Yeah,
that's good.
That is perfect.
I think the key things to making it into adulthood is understanding things you can't control and things you can, and just be at peace with it. A lot of people stress themselves out about things that are not in their control. Some things in adulthood you just got to understand. It's not in my control. I'm going to do the things I can in my control and be the best at that.
Man, that fucking brings to mind, I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm in a unique position. I don't have kids and young. I have a little money saved up for this project, so I'm wondering, what should I be spending my time on? And I hear these giant problems going on in the world. Climate change, nuclear potential wars, etc., etc. And it makes me wonder, are these things that I could control? Like, could I have some impact on them? Should I focus on them? Or should I focus more on things on the ground level? Like where I'm at now in my own community, in my own personal life?
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, you in correlation with things you want to be able to change is things that you're closest to. The bigger picture, climate change, and everything else that you look at it, that's government problems. They've been creating that already. That's different money. You know what I mean? Your energy can't change it. You know what I mean? But you can have some input in it locally, and you can change that one. I do a lot of political engagement and also strategy for a lot of campaigns. And I tell people, everybody think, oh, I voted. When did you vote? Oh yeah, last presidential election. Yeah, but that really doesn't that really doesn't help your community, right? Help your community, your sheriffs, your state reps, your senators, those who have direct connection with your community neighborhood. They change the laws immediately. They get you funded immediately, right? So people understand, like, you got to have direct correlation with what you want to change. That's the only way you get to see it now, right? That's what I tell people. So if you want to change something, change it around your neighborhood, change your community, start to do stuff there. Start to go to the neighborhood school, like, man, these kids don't got books, they don't got pencils, they don't got paper. Cool, let me donate this because it goes directly to them.
Man, it's interesting to hear you say that, because I've been hearing this more and more as I dig into the problem of politics, specifically in America. You hear a lot about political tension, this, that, and the other. And so I'm wondering, like, what exactly to do about that? Should we focus more on the really high-level stuff, the presidential elections? And I keep coming back to local politics, one way or another, something you can much more directly impact who gets elected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can change the scope of a neighborhood if the right official is going to put his harder work in the funding tunnel of money that comes downhill, put it directly to that neighborhood. And it'll change it like that, instantly. You'll start to see.
It's weird. Over the course of different presidential elections, despite people getting really hyped about it in my personal life, I didn't see much difference in my life and in their lives throughout those.
You won't see it because you got to understand, the president governs over the United States of America.
Yeah,
right?
Not Sicklerville, this tiny town.
You know what I'm saying? Not this little piece of earth you live in. So you got to understand, like, when he passes something or do something, it's to be spread out. Right? It's like you take a piece of bread, and you take a teaspoon of peanut butter and put it on. You spread it out, it gets thin. You know what I mean? That's it. But if you take your piece and you throw it right in the middle, right?
I like
directly impacted, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just how you want to direct things, man. I've been working in my community for a very long time. I've been really working hard to change things, give people jobs, change, a lot of their youth minds about, their future. And I feel directly connecting to them changes their mindset. Because a lot of times you got to take them out of what they're living in to let them see, right? They're like, oh yeah, they need programming, they need arts, they need this. Yeah, they all need that. Great, but you still got to take them out of what they're living in so they can see, they can have something outside of this. They can see, oh, this is how people that went to college or did a trade or got their life together and went into the direction to be successful in anything they wanted to do. This is how they live it? Yes. Not the 6 blocks you see after you have to crawl over the dopehead, the crackhead, and everybody else. They don't live like that, right? You can get out of this. This is not your end game. And when you take them out of that, they come back stronger. I had, like, as a kid growing up, like that. That's how I said, like, heck, this is what this is what they think of us. Like, they just gonna let abandoned houses, trash. So this is what they think about what we're worth, right? Because you look at it like. But then as I started to get older, I went to different camps. I went to University of Pennsylvania for entrepreneurship camp and classes, and then I met mentors, and I met this one of my mentors was like, listen, man, he was like, I'm going back to my community to do some work. If your parents sign off, like, if you can pay for your ticket or whatever to get up there. It was to California. He was like, to get up there, like, I got your room and board, don't worry about it. And he's been my mentor for like the last 4 years, so my parents trusted him, stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll go. Took me to LA. Beautiful. I was like, so this is what people live like? Okay, cool. So, I don't gotta walk over the dopehead or the bum or this person, that person. Oh, I can actually live in a nice neighborhood, right? And I can change the scope of my life. So I came back to Philadelphia. It was like, this ain't it. Like, I need to see pictures. I need to have boats. Like, I want it all, right? So you come back with a different understanding of what you can accomplish in life. You don't have to live like this. It don't end here. You know what I mean? So sometimes you gotta take people out of that tunnel vision where it's like, I have to do this and I have to do that to get out of here. You really don't. There's other options. You know what I mean? So. And
there's something that can be done with storytelling, telling people capitalizing on their imagination, really trying to have them imagine a world outside of the one they've lived in. But when it comes to literally taking them and their body and their eyes and their ears and their nose and putting that sensory experience into a whole other location, not just imagine, it hits very differently.
It hits different. And I came back and my friends were like, oh, Jermaine, you want to hang out? I was like, yeah, not today. I said, I got other stuff to do. I'm going to go work this little stupid job at Chuck E. Cheese. I'm going to go talk to my coach. I'm going to go play this thing they call football. I'm going to get a scholarship and get out of here. And, you know, they didn't understand my mindset because they didn't have the experience I had. They didn't get to see California. They didn't get to go on LA Strip and see the sunset while the beach and the water's crashing up on your feet. They didn't get to see that. They didn't get to go on a yacht with one of my mentor's friends, you know, jumping in the water while he's grilling salmon steaks on the yacht. Like, they didn't get to see that. I got to see it. So I was like, but these guys lived in D.C. in the neighborhood. They lived in Baltimore. They lived in New York. And these guys are living out here like this. This is their lifestyle. Yeah, they went to a black college. They succeeded in what they wanted to do. This guy ain't go to college. He's a plumber. But he has the best plumbing company in New York City. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's just, you know, you get to see, oh, if I work hard enough, I change my mindset, I can do better things.
How did you meet that guy?
So I met him through University of Pennsylvania. He was one of my mentors, Omawale Crenshaw. And we still talk time to time. I think he is in Cuba now. He's doing some development for hotels and stuff like that internationally. And you know, I got to work with him when I was in college as his intern, which is hilarious. He gave me kind of the understanding that you can always do more, right? So I'm working on this project that he's working on for Coca-Cola. They're trying to do juicing in Johannesburg, right? So I'm like going on Johannesburg website, seeing the laws, what it takes to tariff taxes, the juice company. How do we get this product over there from the United States and make it make sense, right? So I kind of I did the surface of digging. Like, this is what it costs, this is what it is, you know, that. And I gave him the presentation, like, all right, cool, I'm done. Like, this is what it is. He brought it back to me. He was like, you know you could do better, right? Like, this is bullshit. He ripped it up in my face.
Oh, hardcore.
Yo, and I'm just sitting there like, wait, what, dude? I just spent all day on this. Like, he was like, but I know you could do better. He's like, you didn't tell me, you know, extraction costs, how much it is to get it boxed up. Do we have to sit in the containers, then get it boxed up? Who's going to fly it over? What company is going to take it after it gets to the United States? You didn't do none of that, right? He's like, you missed all that cost. He was like, so we was to take this plan and roll it in. We're missing that cost. Then we're wondering why we're over budget. I was like, well, shit, I didn't think about it like that, right? So I took it back and I did it the right way. And he was like, this is what I'm talking about. Always know it's always more you can do. You got to think about from top to bottom of the process. That's how you get to the end game. Never think you can jump over something and finish it faster. Right? You gotta work through the process, and that always stuck with me. I gotta work through it. No matter how hard you thought it was, no matter how long the end game was, you still gotta get through the process to get to where you want. Right? You gotta work through the problems. And I took that with me as an adult, and I always. My mindset is work through the problem. No matter how hard it looks, no matter how defeated it may be on one end, just work through it. I promise you, you love the other side.
Man, as you're saying that, I'm remembering this conversation I heard in one of my jiu-jitsu classes, this martial arts class, and the teacher's describing, okay, so there's this 5-step process to get to this final submission, to get to this final chokehold. And you can't just jump, because a lot of people get so hyper, they're like, oh, I just see an opportunity, get the chokehold, but you didn't set up, you didn't get your right position, make sure this arm was trapped, etc., and you missed all that, and now you may have their neck, but now they have room to struggle and they can get free. And if you miss the steps along the way, be willing to start over and start the process correctly until you can accomplish it correctly. And the reason I brought that up is it's really fascinating to me how something like jiu-jitsu, a martial art, can tie in so well to this business advice that you've heard, and they seem to hold the same core, the same essence of following a process. Yeah. It's like a skill that can be learned. I've heard people describe they learn the most useful things in their life in the jiu-jitsu gym, just rolling around, even though their job is working as a professor in artificial intelligence, but somehow, weirdly, this totally unrelated thing, I'm using quotation marks for the listener, seemed incredibly helpful. And a quick side tangent question, have you ever noticed different parts of your life aid you in parts of your life you wouldn't expect them to aid you in, like parenting helping you run your business better, running your business?
Oh, absolutely. I would say parenting, especially parenting a little boy like I have, which is a ball of energy. It helps me with patience. Mm-hmm. It gives me the patience to understand that everybody thought process is different. You know, I process things very fast, very meticulous. Like, okay, cool, I know, okay, I see it, right? And I start to put it together, and I'm like, okay, now I have it. A lot of people don't, right? They have to really think, they have to sit, they got to work through the problems, they have to, oh, no, I remember, and then, you know, I'm like, but it's right here in front of them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to be like, no, it's here, look right here, I got it, like, boom, here we go, it's done.
But then somehow you give it to them, they're like, nah,
they're like,
still don't
nah,
see it.
yeah, like, I don't see it still. So it's like, sometimes you have to let them work through their process. So, you know, to get to that goal, because again, you know, it's just patience. Everybody's process is not going to be yours. So you have to let people work through their issues to get to the end. No matter how bad you want to rush them, they won't get what you need them to get if they didn't work through it on their own. They will still miss the purpose, right? And I learned that with that. Even with like me raising children helps me with that. Just to learn that I got to let my son work through it on, so he know like, okay, cool. I won't jump up the step no more. Because it leads to me slipping and then hitting my head on the floor. So now he knows. He'll run down the step like, and slow up. And go down the last step like, and look at like, I didn't fall, Dad. I said, I see you didn't fall. He said, I got it. I said, all right, cool. So it's just, you gotta let him work through the process.
Working through the process, man. Have you noticed any other people who have gotten out of, let's say, a very poor situation and really start to thrive economically? Have you noticed people get inspiration from things aside from literally being taken out of their environment? Because that seems like a beautiful piece to the puzzle of helping people open their mindset to improving their area or getting out of their areas, literally taking them out. Have you noticed any other techniques that have been helpful for giving people that spark of inspiration and belief that they can get out of this area, they can improve their life?
Yeah, other than taking them out of the situation, just somebody believing in them and giving them a chance. It really helps them thrive and give them that spark. Because sometimes people just need the chance. They need the chance to be seen, they need a chance to be heard, they need a chance to actually try to see if there's something they can actually do. Right? It's all about, you know, you give people a chance and they can change that spark. You give them that spark like, wow, man, some good people in this world, they really care about others. Right? So you take the opportunity, and then the person that have given you this opportunity, you don't want them to like, oh, they gave me this opportunity for nothing. Right? Like, I don't want to waste this opportunity given me to be, you know, something I wanted to be. Right? Sometimes, you know, you go into a work job situation and like, oh man, I like your personality, I like this. All right, we got this great job position opening up. Let's see how you do here. And it could be 3 levels of what you thought you'd get coming into an entry level company, because they seen something in you. That right there gives you a spark. Like, man, I didn't even see it in me. They see it in me, so let me go harder. Right? So it gives you that spark. It gives you that, you know, it gives you that, like, that tenacity, like, I can do this. I can really do it. That's like, you know, just like every movie you ever saw, football, basketball, the kid that, you know, he's okay, but the coach sees something in him in the last play of the game, like, I'm going to put you in. It's like, oh, yes. So like Rudy, right? Like, you put him in the last play and he scored a touchdown. It's just, that's that spark. People believe in it, and people gives people sparks.
Okay, man. Show you can actually do it.
Yeah.
You can actually.
Yeah, like, here's your chance. Show them what you got. Right? It gives them that spark. So I'm a true believer in that also.
Okay. Have you had a moment like that in your life?
Oh, man. Yeah, I did. I've had a moment like that recently. So as you know, I was recently shot. And then because I had a little neuropathy in my veins, I caught an infection while they had me open, saving my life, pulling these bullets from me. But it's kind of like a gift and a curse. Like, it gave me life, but, I had to take my leg. But, coming back from that and getting back into the political world, it was kind of different for me, right? Because we go to engage people, I train people, we knock on doors, I design, we do strategy, we do media training. And, for a good part of the campaign that was going on, I didn't have my other leg. So I was on like crutches, I was on a wheelie, things like that. But it was like the people that had used me before was like, oh, Jermaine, we heard he got shot, we don't know if we should call him, we don't know where his mindset is. But one of the guys, one of the older guys that worked with me before, he was like, man, fuck that, call Jermaine. Right? And he's telling me, so he's like, man, I told man, fuck that, call Jermaine. He was like, ain't no way in the world. He was like, if Jermaine was shot and Jermaine's breathing, and he got shot 5 times, Jermaine is rolling. He was like, so I'm gonna call Jermaine. So he calls me. He's like, Jermaine, I said, what's up? He was like, so I hear you walking around here like Superman. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, motherfucker. He said, motherfucker get shot 5 times now, you walking around breathing and like, ain't nothing wrong with you. I was like, yeah, I'm doing okay. Like, I'm healing well. He was like, all right, so we got a campaign going on. Like, you want to jump on? I was like, you know, Brown. He's like, you want to jump on or not, man? Like, I need you. And I was like, all right, Blair. I was like, Blair, his name's Blair. I said, all right, Blair, I'll do it. So I get on the campaign, get into the mix, actually gets my leg in the process of it. So, like, we're going to different events, meetings. I'm actually training. I'm actually, at this point, I'm walking up, down steps, going door to door, right, engaging these people and talking to the canvassers I hire. Like, we have maybe like 40 canvassers, so like, I'm training these people every day. We're walking, like, because if somebody don't get it, I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna be like, all right, don't come back. Like, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna walk to the first 10 doors with you. And they looking at me like, you walking to the first 10 doors? I was like, yeah, but we're cool. We're walking these first 10 doors. So I'm walking these first 10 doors, and you know, I got the chance to really re-engage people and really get that, like, all right, Jermaine, it's your moment to show people, no matter what goes on in your life, no matter what you've been through, you still come out stronger than you left, right? So this is kind of my moment. Like, I still got it. I didn't miss a step, right? Funny thing, did miss a step or a beat in my life, and I moved forward with what I was doing and came back, you know, stronger. Actually, we won the campaign by like 8,000 votes. Like, we smoked the opponent. So that was kind of like, yeah, like, we did. Like, I came back and I did it. Like, you know what I mean? Even though other people thought that, nah, he's not up to. He probably won't be up to the challenge, right? And it was kind of my moment, like, I still got it.
You hit that 8 Mile Eminem moment.
Right? I was like, I still got it. What you talking about? You know, so that was kind of like my moment for me coming out of my injury, and the thing that happened to me. But you know, now we're here, and like, even like I said, when we met, like, you was like, man, it's like your energy. I was like, yeah, just that next phase of my life, I just wanted to be nothing left behind. Like, everything that I want to do, everything that I desire to do, I'm gonna go for it.
Where do you think that comes from?
For me, it came from my life being taken, and it's like, you don't have that. Yeah. It gives you the realistic understanding that this life is only for the moments we're here. So I'm taking what happened to me and I'm turning it into a positive on my life, where, you know, every day has to count. Yeah. Every day I have to get up and do something every day to move me closer to my goals.
I almost don't want to say this because I don't want to sound inconsiderate in saying it, but I'm sure people who know me will understand what I mean. That there was recently a death in my community, and it was one of those unexpected things. You wake up with that call in the morning, and you have to go to the hospital right now, and it just opened my eyes a little more, because you have the understanding that we're all going to die. Yeah. But when you don't see it, like you said earlier, being taken and really showing you the experience, it's like,
it's future. Something that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Not today, not now. We don't know.
But when it hits you, it's like, you really don't know.
Don't know.
Every second, people say the next day is now promised. The next second, last second we could have died. Last second we could have, and so on. And so it's strange, that yin and the yang, right? That seems to be so true. It was such a dark and horrible thing, and yet on top of that, a little bit of light came out, that I appreciate life a little more now. I appreciate the people in it more, the moments more.
No, you're absolutely right. And that just it just put things in perspective for me. And like, even my wife, she's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to do something. She was like,
was that today?
No, that was today. I was like, it's just like, you know, random days. Like, if I don't have something going on, I know my day class. She usually knows, like, what I'm doing, my day's class. She's like, where are you going? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to do something today. And I'll get up and I'll start going through my notes, like, okay, cool, I'll call this person, I'm going to see if they're available and meet for this project and see what we can do. And she's like, but why? I said, because I don't know if I can do it tomorrow. I don't know if I can do it tomorrow. It's not promised I'm going to get up and do it. So why not do it today?
And it's so weird to pair that with planning long term. Knowing you could die at any moment, but still setting your sights on years and years and years down the road.
And I feel like people that do that, it's not like I tell people, it's not like, oh, you know, I'm kind of pre-planning. It's not pre-planned. It's kind of one like what I'm going to leave behind. It's more of that, right? It's not like I'm planning for the future. No, what am I going to leave behind? Like, what are people going to remember me as? You know, if I pass the day tomorrow, what will my children say I've done in their life to move them forward?
Legacy.
Right? Legacy, right? So this is what I get up every day for my legacy, for people to know that he did his best, he worked his hardest, he loved his family, his friends, to his best capability, right? And I was telling one of my guys, I was like, hey man, let's hang out today. He was like, all right, cool, what's up? Where you want to go? I don't care, let's go have a beer. Yeah. You just hang out and talk. I ain't talking to you in like 2-3 months. He was like, yes, and we'll just check in. They're like, man, like, this is neat. I was like, he's like, I don't really like, we didn't do this before. I was like, yeah, this is something I want to do. This is something on my list I want to continue to check in with my friends.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up? What you doing? Nothing. All right, cool. Let's go have a drink. Let's go to a beer garden. Whatever. It don't matter. Like, oh, let's go down Delaware Avenue and, you know, let's go, you know, do some golf balls. Whatever. It didn't matter. Like, so, you know, just so we can have that connection, you know what I mean, to, you know, of that, you know, that memory. You know what I mean? So it's always something there. Right? Something you leave behind.
I'll ask a mixed, unusual version of this question when it comes to legacy. What is a legacy you absolutely don't want to leave behind? But like you see these as your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, the ways in which you specifically could fall into, we'll call it hell on earth, for lack of a better term. What is your specific, the hell you absolutely don't want to leave behind, the legacy you do not, no matter what, want to leave behind, but you know you could. Like for you, these are your particular shortfalls.
I feel like I don't want to leave behind that I took people for granted, right? Because the way I'm moving in my life is very fast. So if I'm moving fast, some people feel left behind. They feel like you discard them. They feel like, oh, I'm not important to them, just because sometimes you can't get back to everybody in moving in the direction I'm moving in. So I don't want to leave them. I don't want to let people feel as though I didn't appreciate who they were in my life. I don't want to leave that legacy.
You know, man, I've noticed a terrible tendency I've had at times to, at Chipotle, there was a friend I made while I was working there. And I wanted to end up doing a podcast with them. So I put a lot of effort, maybe even extra effort, into making sure our relationship was good so that we could end up doing that in the future. And then after we did the podcast, I didn't really end up, I left the job and I didn't talk to them so much. And I was looking back on it like, fuck, I feel like I fucked up there. Like I almost made them feel used in a sense. And that felt so shitty. As if I'm missing some key component of what it means to, like, you're a human being. You're not just this one function. It sounds so horrible to say. You're not just this one thing to me. You have a whole life in and of yourself. You have your own desires and wants and all that. You're not just someone who I could have some fun with at work, then do a podcast, then bye, never see you again. And I noticed this fucked up potential I have to go cold to someone. Where it's like, all right, moving on to the next, on to the next. Mm-hmm. But like, damn, I gotta appreciate people more, treat them more respectfully.
Absolutely.
Oh, how do you define respect?
I define respect pretty simple. It's understanding, right? Because a lot of people think you respect someone by, you know, oh man, I respect them. Like I don't cross them. I don't do this to them. But respect truly comes from understanding your culture, understand your needs, understand your wants, your don'ts, and that's how you really understand. Because again, you could just like yes, simplistic as a relationship with a girl, right? And like, oh, how do you respect, a woman in your life? It's about understanding what her don'ts are, understanding what her vulnerability is, understanding what her capabilities are, understanding how she wants to be treated. Right? It's just understanding somebody. And with you understanding all those things about somebody, the respect is there. Right? It's there because you already understand. You understand what they want to do in their life. You understand how they feel about certain subjects. You understand how they want to be treated. You understand where they're trying to move forward in life. So then you respect them. You respect your partner.
So, okay, so you're describing, because I think about this a lot, what really is respect. It seems to be one of the keys to living a great life, especially self-respect. But, so to understand, and then once you understand, to act towards it in a certain way. If I know what you really don't like, then I'm not going to do it.
Not going to. Right? If I know, if we're out and about and, you know, you don't like the fact that, you know, we talk about, you know, let's say the gay culture makes you feel uncomfortable. You do not like it. That's something you got on your shirt, and that's something you fight for every day for the inequality people have encountered. But we still talk about these, we still do these gay jokes and puns in front of you all day. Right? I don't respect you. But if I understand that, and I do understand it, I respect it. I won't mention it. We won't talk about it. We'll put that, you know, somewhere else, you know, where it is not a part of our language anymore. And in that term, you respect it. It's all about understanding. People don't get it, man. It comes down to simply understanding. It's really simple.
Oh, damn, man. Then I'm hit with this interesting theme of the enemy. If you understand the enemy in really any context, you understand it deeply, you can reach a point. Sometimes someone you thought your enemy, when you got to understand them more, you realize, oh no, we're not. These disagreements we thought we had, those were illusions, we had misunderstandings. But sometimes you reach this, and I've seen this theme in movies, where the two badasses from opposing sides have like a gentlemanly understanding. It's like, we know each other, we know why we're fighting, and we understand that we have to fight. There's really no way around. We're not going to make peace. One of us is going to get the way, our way, or we're not. And a respect even while we're fighting.
Yeah.
That's
because we understand why we're doing this. This is our goal. This is your goal. I get it, but we have to get through this because this is what I'm fighting. Right? Simple understanding comes with respect. Understanding it in turns to respect, and that's how I look at it. It's a beautiful day today.
Yes, it is.
Right? It's a beautiful day today.
I love recording outside, man. Hearing the birds, just breathing in fresh air.
And I see that, like in a lot of your podcasts, you do that. That's something that's your setting. That's something you push to do.
Oh yeah. I love it. It puts you in a different frame of mind.
Okay.
As opposed to being in I don't know. It's difficult to describe exactly why it changes me. When I'm in a room and I don't feel airflow, and the sun's not hitting my skin, and I don't hear birds or animals and the movements of nature, you feel
like you're in a box.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in trap. I get it. I get it. I get the reference. Absolutely. Because again, like when I'm like, you know, I moved outside the city just because I wanted a backyard. And I don't do much in my backyard. My kids do. But I legit sit in the backyard and put my feet up, and I just chill in my chair and watch the birds, let the sun hit me. I just like, yeah, this is it. I'm cool right here. Right? It's just like you said, just something about nature. Something about nature is supposed to feel, you know, the complexity of it all. You know what I mean? It's just to feel it here.
Yeah, it feels like it's right. Like we're made to be in this.
Yeah.
To not be in the box.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Where do you live? Nearby?
So I grew up in South Philadelphia. Now I am, I would say, near the burbs almost. I'm like a couple of minutes drive from the burbs. Because I wanted, like I said, my son, my daughter likes to flip. She does gymnastics. So I'm like, she's trying to do gymnastics in like a 10 by 10 backyard with concrete. I was like, she's gonna lose her mind. She's like a hamster. You know what I mean? So I was like, we gotta get them out of the city, you know, just so they have like ample room. So we actually found a very nice house, but in this, I guess in the years of the house, another house next door was tore down. The person that owned the house actually bought the land next to it. So now it's like this, it's like a big patch of land that we have, which is super cool. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's very relaxing. Very relaxing.
You don't have a trampoline?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a trampoline. My wife forced me to buy a 22-foot by 18 water slide for the backyard that I have to collapse and break down and dry out. But you know, like I said, it's all about memories and you know, they love it. Just to see them on it. And then some of my nieces and nephews come on, they love it. It was like, creating a memory. So
worth all the grind.
Worth
and then
all the
annoying ass
grind.
thing to disassemble.
Oh my God. Like I gotta legit, like you gotta dry it out. If you dry it out, probably it gets mildew. So now I got it blown up. I gotta wait 2 hours for it to dry out, then roll it up, then put it in this little bag that it don't fit in. And try to make it fit in and zip it up.
Reminds me of my dad.
That's like 2 hours. Like 2 hours to put it away. I was like, oh, whatever. This creates memories. Like my kids love it to see them do it, and see them get on it. It's worth every minute of the struggle.
Dude, what's it like watching your daughter do, I assume, backflips and whatnot on a trampoline?
Oh man, it's amazing, man. She's fearless. This little girl is fearless. Like she's like, Dad, watch me. I'm like, all right, cool. She said, I'm gonna do a backflip. I said, all right, cool. So I think she's gonna do like a little tumble backflip. She's like bouncing, then get air. She's outside of the trampoline net at this point and like flipping and come back down and bounce. I'm like, you're crazy. I said, but that was super cool. Don't do that again.
Dude, I heard that's one of the toughest things for a parent to do is to let their kid do dangerous things carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just look at her and this girl is fearless. But again, in life, you don't want to. You can't put the bumpers on all the time because how would they experience life?
Yep, right? A nerfed out world.
Yeah, they will never be the full potential they needs to be if they got bumpers on them all the time. You can protect them from things, absolutely, but sometimes you have to let them get them bumps and scrapes. Thinking of that, she actually got back on her bike, got like 4 bumps and scrapes or whatever. But I was like, listen, it's part of riding the bike. Then she got another bump and scrape. When you're pushing your bike and you don't move far away from it, it hits the back of your heel. Everybody done felt that before. And now she got scrape on her back, her ankle. I said, but I told you gotta walk with it like this. Like I know. I said, but those are parts of life. You gotta let them go through. Say no, I don't do that. I walk with it like this now. It's all right, cool. So you see her walking the bike, she's like this. She's like walking on the side. It's like you learned your lesson. She's like, yeah. Those are the types of things you have to let your children do so they become to their full potential.
Being willing to dive into the danger.
Right? Listen, that's what life is about. That's what life is about, man. Experiences. I can only tell you how many experiences I had in life that was like, man, we almost died tonight. But it was fun. Right? It was just like, it's just the adrenaline of it, and you live through it. You never do it again, but it's like, man, we did that. Like,
have those movie-esque close calls.
Like, it's crazy, right? So it's just like, things like, we do. Me and my friends were just all my male friends, I just had like a good little Father's Day thing at my house, and they were all over, and we just talked about the old times, like we was nightclubs, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, like, we don't even know where we're at, like, this after hour in this other part of town that we got to knock on the door, or gate goes up, and we just walk in. He was like, man, we thought we was going to die that night. I said, yeah, but we had a ball. You know what I mean? It just, and my boy's like, yeah, remember that time we went to it was a Cambodian after hour. He was like, we didn't even speak the language. He was like, but we knew how to order drinks, and we didn't understand none of the music. But we had a ball. I said, exactly. It's just moments in life where you just experience different things. And I've always been like that. But now, like I told you before, this has made me like open it up even more words. I want to experience more things like make more memories of life. I'm in help, and also help most people I can.
Man, that's fucking weird to pair that shit with. You ever hear the Buddha story? When he's growing up, he was a prince, and his dad really wanted to make sure he was always safe and protected, only saw the beautiful parts of life.
I never heard that.
Yeah, and the dad was told when he was born, his son's either going to be a great religious leader, or he's going to be a great king. The dad being a practical man, he's like, I want him to be a king, so he can have money and safety and all those sorts of things. So he raised his son, so he never wanted to leave the castle and never wanted to go out, just wanted to stay in the castle and become a king. But the son got curious as he's in this wonderful paradise of beautiful people and women and all the delicious foods you can eat. And he starts to go out and explore. But the dad goes up and he cleans up the city, like make sure you move all the old and sick and ugly people from the city when you go out exploring. But the gods had a different plan in mind. And every time he went out, they would expose him to one thing. They would like transform into the form of an old man. The guy's like, what's that guy? And his carriage rider is like, oh, that's an old man. Age comes to us all. You get old, you lose different abilities, and then eventually you die, and he was introduced to death. And the point for me bringing this up is it's weird that if you're so sheltered, you don't experience danger and the touch of death and sickness and pain, that you don't have the hunger to live life to the fullest. It seems like that's partly true. You almost dying or with your friend.
No, absolutely, that's partly true. Absolutely, yeah. I can see that. Absolutely. It just gives you an understanding. You know, it just gives you more understanding and push you to the edge where it's like, you know, I can't live in shelter no more. I can't, you know, just tiptoe around life, you know. Again, like, because what happens? People tiptoe around their whole life, they didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, got cancer. First thing they do, like, I'm gonna just exhaust my account. I'm going skydiving. I'm doing all. I'm gonna go swim with sharks. I don't need no cage. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just they do the extreme, but this whole time could have been just living life.
Yeah.
Could have just been living life.
Living life, man. And but it's not go too crazy. We're just doing coke and running red lights. The balance.
Balance, right? Oh my God. Yeah. It's just like I said, living life. It just brings it full circle. You know, and a lot of people miss it. They miss it, and it's always coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Oh, fuck that, man.
Right? And it's just
regrets.
Yeah. Nobody wants to live with regrets.
Hell no.
Nobody wants to live with regrets, because one thing I learned about life is, you know, you can always get money, you can get things, you can get cars back, you can get houses back, you even get loved ones, you know, broken up relationships back, you can mend them back. But one thing you can't do is time. You can't get time back. Once that clock has gone, you can't
zero
back. Right? It's the end. The buzzer has went off, and it's time. So, you know, that's the thing. People understand, like, oh, you're wasting my money. You're like, man, money has no object or even hold on time. It doesn't. You can't buy time. You can't buy time. You can't. Time is something that it cannot be purchased, and I'm learning that now.
That fucking hippie. You ever see Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
That fucking beautiful movie. I was listening to an interview with the man who lived it. I forget. Jordan Belfort.
Okay, yes.
He said, so you have all the money you ever wanted, the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful house, the designer drugs, and you still feel that pit in your stomach, that pain, the sadness, and he said that's when the real fear kicks in. He's like, I have all these things, but I still feel hollow inside. It's like, what the fuck? What am I missing? What am I missing, man? Makes me wonder if that dream, the American dream of the Scarface life almost, where it's drugs and money and you're living on the edge, but he's still this kind of sad, paranoid man.
Yeah.
Makes me...
It doesn't buy happiness. It doesn't buy happiness. I think because of these movies and the culture that we live in and the things that we've seen growing up, where we kind of, you know, money equals happiness, cars, happiness, luxury, happiness, you know, and down to the commercials, right? I feel, you know, we have missed the point, right? I think happiness comes from, you know, moments in life, enjoying the loved ones around you, building that. And I feel when the money comes and the luxury comes in, you have these people around you to enjoy them with, then you become good.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, man. Then the luxuries are not hollow.
They're just amenities of something that you built great for yourself. It's like, man, it's great. We could go, you know, yes, we could come on a plane. But on this plane, you have your best friend, your wife, your children, your you know, your business partner you built a company with, whatever. But all these people you love is on this jet that you pay this money for. But it's not about what you pay. It's not about this jet. It's about the people you're with on this jet.
Fucking the community, man.
Right?
Hell yeah. Oh, it seems that we've lost touch with that a little bit in today's day and age, and maybe I'm totally wrong in saying that. Maybe it's just some personal experiences of mine, but there's a quote that goes something like, we can put people on the fucking moon, right? We can talk to people thousands of miles away in a few seconds with the internet, but we can't make people happy, strong, and healthy consistently. For some reason, we're missing some piece of that puzzle. You'll hear mental health going up, sadness, people feeling lonely, and it seems like there's some key in having a tight-knit community, right? People around you that you love, that you care about you, they're willing to spend time with. That it seems like that should be put more emphasis on than just I don't even money, like you said.
No, absolutely. Like that community you build around you is one of the things that carry you through the hardest times you ever will see, right? And the thing, I'm just talking from experience. The hardest time I ever see is the thing, being in coma for 10 days and not knowing if you're going to make it, right? At this point in time, I had the community around me that I started to build. Right, my loved ones, my friends, my people. So it's just like they were all waiting, like for me to come to and wake up. So like, yo, we here. No matter what goes on, like we here.
Ooh,
right?
Was there anything in your coma? Because I've heard people. Do you hear anything in your coma?
So I didn't hear. I dreamed a lot, and in those dreams, like it was just I don't know. It could have been the drugs they had me on, but it was just like different segments of my life I was revisiting. At first, like, damn, I'm dead. Like, right? Because I'm
to
like,
even have that thought, damn,
I was like,
dead.
damn, I'm dead because I didn't wake up. So it's like, oh shit, I'm dead. Like, oh fuck, what happened? Right? So it's like, I'm having these dreams and I'm talking to people that have passed before me, but only people I couldn't see faces. I know I'm talking to people, but only people that really came like to visual. I could see their face were my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother on my mother's side, my grandfather on my father's side. Those are the only two people I really spoke to, while I was there. Everybody else was kind of passing like moments, memories, and that was it. These are the only two people I actually talked to.
What did you talk about?
It was just like, like my grandfather, like I talked about the good times with him. Like, hey, remember that time when Scepter wasn't running, you took me to school every day, right? And it's so funny, and like I'm like, man, even in heaven, this dude is like still got my name wrong. my name is Jermaine. My grandfather called me Jermaine. I don't know why, but he called me Jermaine. I'm like, I was like, Grandpa, but man, he's like, I know your name, but I call you what I call you. I was like, all right, whatever. Right? I was like, all right. So that was my grandfather called me. But like even while I'm dreaming, I'm like, man, you can't even get my name right now. Like, come on, dude. Like. So, just talking to him about the good times. My grandmother, I was talking to her just about life, about things I was going through and stuff like that. And she always, like, for a segment of my grandmother was bedridden. And I used to come and sit with her, like, 1, 2 in the morning. We used to have talks about life. She like, because, I was coming from the club, the nightclub, and everything else. She's like, boy, I was like, boy, you couldn't keep up with me on the dance floor. So we would talk about things like that. Right, so we're just going through the dialect that we used to. So it's just like, in my head, I'm like, yo, this is weird. Like, I haven't woke up. This is a dream. But, as I casually kind of come out of the grogginess, like, then I start to see the people surrounding me, pictures and vases and flowers and, things like, okay, I built a community around me. It was still loving. They were protecting my wife, protecting my children. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that was, I was doing something. Right? So now it's like, I'll take that. And now I'm maximizing it to the max. So we're building even stronger. So we leave that legacy. You know what I mean? So that's my goal. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Great book called Tribe. Guys digging into PTSD and why so many soldiers want to go back to war and the military. There's a war journalist, Sebastian Younger, talks about it. And he came to the conclusion that it's not, most of the time, it's not the high of war that these people are seeking. They're not crazy, they don't just love killing people. They want that sense of tight-knit community where these people have your back.
Yeah.
There's a sense of brotherhood that he says when they come back into this society that they're lacking. Like, we have the phrase, I got your back, man. But how often is that really tested?
Yeah. How long is that? Yeah, it's not really tested. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's not tested. People say they have your back until the worst thing happens to you in your life. And then it's like, like, I can't, like, I got other shit going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, all right, whatever. But it's like, when you see it, it's like, oh, wow, like, this is what it is. This is what it feels like to be loved. This is what it feels. It just makes you dig in deeper, right? It makes you dig in deeper. It makes you, okay, so the things I was doing up to this point were the right things. Because these people are still around. These people have, like, I remember my wife when I'm waking up, she was like, I come to the houses, food everywhere, this and that, and blah. My wife was like, cans and juice, like not like cases of soda and juices, and people were just calling me, like, no, Jermaine's my guy. What do you need? I'm sending you whatever. They were just sending packages and packages and packages to my home. And my wife was like, it was so overwhelming. Like, people were like dropping off envelopes, sending her cards, cash apping her money. And it was just like, I was doing something right. Because I built a community around it.
What do you think you're doing right?
I think I was just making sure people felt that I appreciated their work and time. No matter if it was years, but at that time, they knew I appreciated it. I appreciated it.
Wow, because these seem like such simple, basic rules, like appreciate people, be respectful, and then I just look at a person, calling someone a bad person doesn't seem like the right way to do it. A person who's made maybe many bad decisions in their life, doesn't have a tight-knit community around them, it just makes me wonder, like, damn, bro, what were you lacking? What made you miss these, what seems to us very simple, like, clear pieces of the puzzle?
Yeah, true. What makes people miss that? Because it seems really simple, but it's not, because some people, this is the thing, you've been on an island so long by yourself, right? And you probably haven't experienced that type of love. You probably haven't experienced that type of camaraderie with anybody. You haven't experienced support. You've always been exclusive to yourself. So it's kind of like, how do you then show it to somebody else when it hasn't been shown to you?
That makes me think of pressures on a community, like mental health problems, and what tax on top of that when an area is very poor, the crime rate's more likely to go up, mental health is more likely to be exacerbated, and I assume that will be more likely to fracture a family. Or
fracture a family, breaks down families, make people commit crimes. You know, people don't understand, a lot of crimes come from, you know, broken homes. A lot of crimes come from miseducating, because, you know, you don't, when you're not educated, you don't know how to go forward in life and get a job or read and write. Like, it's the simple things in life we take for granted. A lot of these people don't know how to do it. So the only thing they know how to do is go rob somebody or steal something, right? It's just sad, but also it comes from the tools they get when they're younger.
Yeah, because it's crazy to imagine. I grew up in a decent neighborhood, so I never felt a strong pressure to go into crime just so I could have food in my stomach, or whatever the main reasons people go into crime are. I've heard people because want the community of the gang, because maybe they're not getting it somewhere else.
Yeah, like that love. But again, you know, I tell you, like, oh, you know, the brotherhood is my brother, but then you go left with the brotherhood, they take you out of here. So how much is that truly your brotherhood, right? You know, it's just kind of like I said, it's just things you gravitate to things that are for now, not forever, right? So it's kind of like I have a need for this, and I want to kind of go into this, but it's just truly a facade and a cloak over what you truly need in life. You know, people go into gangs and crime and stuff like that. You know, it's things they're missing, right? It's things they're not getting. It's things that, you know, they're seeking, but sometimes you seek out the wrong things. And it's sad, and it portrays that reason.
Before I go to the next question, I'm curious. Do you care whether someone says African American or black? Do you care at all? Or?
I don't, and I do. Mass who says that.
Gotcha.
Just being honest.
And maybe how they're saying it.
And how they say it. So it's just like I tell people, it's all about how you take things and how people, you know, introduce them to you, right? You know, how you take the perception of someone else. If they actually are being honest or they just don't know, right? It's just what it is. So, you know, people say, oh, you're African American, absolutely. But someone like, oh, you're black. Like, what you mean by that?
Yeah, the way you said it, black.
Yeah, like why you emphasis?
Why, yeah.
Like you making me feel like I should be uncomfortable. Right? But you know, again, it's about like, it's a yay and nay. It's like it matters who says it and it matters how it comes out.
I got you. That's something that I'm kind of confused about, because we still call people white people, but not like European American.
Yeah.
But if you call you European American, but like your ancestors for the last few generations were in Africa and they just maintain the same skin color for whatever reason, are you still European American? Maybe I'm just getting too caught up in semantics.
No, it's crazy that you say that, because a lot of it is this world is built on color and money.
Damn, that's a hell of a way to define it.
I'm being seriously honest. It's color. Like if you don't have a lot of money, your color matters. If you have a lot of money, color doesn't matter. It's about the money. 100%. And I tell people all the time, they're like, nah, it's a lie. I said, it's not a lie. It's not, I promise you. I said, it's poor people problems, and then it's wealthy people problems. They don't have our type of money. And they're like, all right, I don't see it. I said, you'll see it. When you get money, like a lot of money, you'll see the different things you walk into, the different things you see. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. But color comes down to being, in a poor community and where resources are scarce, color comes down to a lot of differentiation if you get it or if you don't. But if you have money, that color doesn't matter. I could buy my way out of anything. I could buy my way into anything.
Yeah.
Like, we don't think you could have this loan for this house because you're black. I have money, it doesn't matter. I want this house, I want money. Like, that's what
money. Oh, thank you.
Listen, it's either color or money. It just matters where you fall at in life. Yeah, that's what I look at it.
You think it has more to do with, like, literal color on your skin or your culture?
Color your skin.
Yeah, right? There's
Absolutely.
a weird thing where...
Absolutely. I see, like, in the, I would say, low-income communities, if you're white, if you're black, it changes how people treat you. In stores and stuff like that, it just changes how people treat you. But if you're wealthy, you're wealthy. You don't have no color. You have money.
Yeah, and often it shows through your clothing.
And it's crazy because I'll never forget this in college. We used to have me and a couple of people, a white girl, a couple of people, and we were talking. She was like, oh, my father would never let me date a black guy. I said, but what if he was an NFL star? She said, probably so. And she was like, no, not like that. I said, no, because he has money, so his color doesn't matter. And she was like, no, we're not that shallow. I said, no, it is. That is that shallow. It's that shallow. Somebody have enough money, the color doesn't matter.
Interesting. What if he was a really rich rapper? And the only reason I say rapper is because I feel like rappers are more likely to be associated with the more negative
culture.
stereotypes.
Absolutely. So probably not. But if you were like a wealthy NFL player, wealthy business person, well, they're like, oh, cool. He's not a bad one of those people.
Damn, that's a
right.
Hear that?
Yeah, because he has the money. But let you be a rapper, like, oh, he's terrible. He just has money. Like after his career is over, he will never have that money again. So they look at it like that's just he has. I would say, what they would call that. Momentarily wealthy. Because for that moment, you are wealthy. But after your raps no longer exist, or you get a felony charge, you go to jail. That money's gone. Like the money's gone. You didn't invest any of it. You don't have anything, property. You don't have none of that. So when you different wealthy and money, they associate it different. Like rapper money, it's not. All these rappers out here that no longer exist, don't have hits, they're broke.
Yeah, if you just not understanding a little bit of financial intelligence.
Yeah, they're broke. Like I was like, how MC Hammer go broke? This guy was making like 18 million, 20 million. How you go down to zero?
My dad always said you could have millions spend 2 million, a billion spend 2 billion, and you're gonna be broke.
Yes, it just I was just like, and it just comes down, like I said, it's all about the circumstances and if you're able to keep it, if you're smart enough to keep it.
What's your community trying to do? Are the people trying to take?
Yeah. Or they like, nah, let's build this up so we all can get money. That's the difference. When you build that community around you, they're not looking for the money. They're looking for the moments, what we can create with this money, what we can do with the money, how we can uplift people with the money. Like that's what we look to do. That's the wave I'm on.
Fuck yeah.
Not like, oh, we get money. No, how can we get money together and then uplift everybody? That's what I want to do. That's my end game.
Fuck yeah. Ooh, real quick, what are the businesses or the groups that you're a part of and promote?
So Mainstream Marketing is my marketing and political strategy company. CBG Philly is the bar that I have in Kensington, which we open back up soon. You can follow all these on Instagram. And then It is SCOPE is Strategic Community Outreach Program. Engagement is my nonprofit for gun violence that I actually just launched because being a victim of gun violence, I want to help people within gun violence and going through the process because there's not a lot of help out there. There's help after, but if you're in a hospital, there's not a lot of help. Your bills could be tanking, your car could be getting taken, the house could be getting foreclosed on, and you're still in this hospital. You don't get no help you need. Yeah. So in between the time, we want to be that in between time help to help people financially and mentally to get them ready and to go on this long road.
Oh damn! So like you got shot and you're in a coma and you don't have anyone taking care of your bills. Even if you had the money,
it's gone. Even if you had the money, it's gone.
Yeah, that's
crazy, right? Yeah, it's crazy. So I seen a lot of that. Like I was like walking with this kid, he's crying. Like, man, what's going on? He's like, yo, I just like can't repo my car and all my stuff is on the side of the bush. I just got a phone call from my boy. He's like, he's like, yeah, but I'm in a hospital. Like, nobody here to pay my bills. Like I can't get access to my checks at work. Like,
yeah. And you think with the internet that could all be solved really easily?
They didn't have access to none of it. So you have nobody on your behalf to do that. So you kind of want to be that advocate for people.
Yeah.
Because I seen like I was okay because I had like I said, I built that community around me, or was building that community that started to grow. So like I think me getting hurt kind of made the community a little tighter because I was the nucleus and then I was gone, so they had to build around each other. So now like I'm like, yo, where you at? Oh, I'm with Chris, man. I'm like, y'all start hanging out? He's like, yeah, man. That thing happened to you, like you start to get to know each other. I was like, all right, that's even more cooler. Like it's even more dope. You know what I'm saying? It's not just between me no more. I'm not the nucleus. So I kind of built this community where we amongst ourselves, we're meeting, we're going out, we're hanging out, and I don't have to be there all the time to build this one, right? I'm here, but again, it's like it's being built outside of what I created. So I think
it's like the round table idea, right?
Yeah.
Where no one's at the head of the table, we're all equal sitting around.
Absolutely, and I love that. Like, it's like, yeah, we out in Center City. Like, oh, that's nice. Y'all ain't invite me. Oh, man, we thought you was done. My bad. I said, no, I'm just playing. But, again, it's like they're hanging out there and they're doing different things. They're going to different ventures with each other. They're doing different business and meeting each other daily and going to each other barbecues. I love it. I love it. Like down to my wife. Like my wife was hanging out with one of my business partners I did business with that she never met until this situation happened, and now they hang out. They just went and got their nails stuff done the other day. I was like, well, who you with? Like, she's like, I'm with Andrea. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's Chris's wife. So like, they're like hanging out and they're just building that community.
Yeah, that was beautiful to see when I fucked my leg up back in the day. All the people it brought together, my friends who never met certain family members, having them out in the lobby talking, having these deep conversations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It creates a synergy. You know what I mean? That it continues on. So I kind of like that.
Yeah. So I'm fucking wondering, I wonder if that can be created without having to have someone literally lose
something
a leg.
Traumatic? I don't know. I think something has to happen traumatic to wield that together.
Right?
Right? Because again, like it trickles down. So it trickles down to like this happened to them. Like, oh man, what if that happened to us? Who are we going to be? Like, who's going to be around to help us? Man, I got to start making friends. Like, so it kind of forges that thinking. Whereas they're like, oh man, cool, okay. So it's like a little cool thing we had going on. All right, cool. I'm gonna start hanging out with them too. Like, let's start doing this, start doing that. Right? So it just.
I heard sports are kind of like a substitute for war. People still have that urge, the warring urge. Like, I want to put my will towards competing and crushing someone in some competition.
Yeah.
But let's not do that in a way that destroys lives and creates horrible trauma. So now you have football or MMA, and where people have a healthy outlet.
They have a healthy outlet to do it. Absolutely. Healthy, competitive, healthy way to do it.
Yeah.
Their transgressions, right?
It would be a healthy way to have people bonding without actual
trauma, right? Yeah, it gotta be a way. It gotta be a way to build that, and it's like I feel it has to probably start with one person kind of building that bridge where they're like, look, this is our people, these are our guys, this is what we're gonna do. Like, just to kind of put that energy out there. And people probably start to get to it, they start to gravitate to it once they start to see that power in numbers also, right? Collectively we can help each other grow.
Yeah.
Right? So
they tested it actually works. You're like, oh shit, they're onto something.
This shit works. Okay, cool. All right. I had a business, it was growing. Then they got involved. They told their friends about my business. They told them. So okay, now we own it. Then I had to do this. They came over. They helped me with that. It just started to grow.
Fuck yeah.
People start to see.
Oh, this is going back to a racial sort of question for a second. Excluding what you've seen on the news or third-party sources of information, in your own life, I'm curious, how has race changed throughout your lifetime? How people view it, how it's affected you, and things along those lines. How has that changed throughout your life?
Personally, I can honestly tell you that it only changed a little bit as I got older, just because how I feel race is viewed, and how families have been blended, and especially in my family and in my culture, you know, Hispanics, blacks, whites, Asians being mixed into our family. It just has changed on that nature because now we kind of understand the culture more. So it's kind of more of a growing experience. You get to understand, but you know, it's not about race when it comes to love. And once a child is born and enter marriage, like you can't even hate this child. So it changes a lot of. I feel it changed. I've seen a lot change in my family and just around me. Period. Just about race and me per se growing up. Like I seen color growing up. You know, where they're like, oh yeah, you know, they're a little different. But I never kind of discouraged or kind of like shied or picked on people because they're different. I always was the guy that like I had black friends, white friends, Italian friends. I had Cambodian friends, Filipino friends. We all hung out. I always was that person. Like even like now, like you know, I always kept that. Like I like to kind of I don't know. It's always been me. I always like to indulge in other cultures. Because, you know, I got tired of soul food. It's like, listen, my man Eric.
How could you get tired of soul food?
Oh, my God, I get tired of it. So I was like, my man Eric, he's Philippines. Mom's cooking this dish. I'm going over there. I'm not having fried fish and cabbage again for the 365th time this year. There's no point. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go get some of what they get. So I've always been like that. I always wanted to test out other cultures. But now that I get older, I get to really indulge and really build that relationship with them. And I never, like I said, I never really seen color coming up. But I felt like in my age, it got different for me just because you start to see people for who they are and how they grew up. And sometimes it's not about, you know, about, oh, they feel that way. They were just taught that way to feel about certain people. And it's sad because they get to know the people and it's like, oh wow, you're not what I was taught this whole time in my life. You're actually not who they say you were, or not. This is not the stereotype you were. Some people, yes, but not all. Everybody got every culture has their bad apple. Like right, and I tell people, I was like, you know, all black people, you know, aren't, you know, drug dealers and they don't all go shoot people and rob people. All white people aren't serial killers. You know, put you in your basement and tie you up. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's how I look at it. Everybody got a bad apple in their culture. Yeah. You know, I said it's about life and what you go through. And I said this to somebody, it's like, wow, the way you put it like that. I said, exactly. I said, I really, like, in the suburbs, oh my God, you put on Life 360? Oh my God, it's like, there's no gunshots, there's no stabbings, no robberies, there's a bunch of rapes that happen in the suburbs. Like rapes. I'm like, why? Like, what is going over here in the suburbs? But again, in the neighborhoods, you're going to the urban communities, there's gunshots, there's stabbings, there's robberies. It's like I said, every culture has their issues.
But there is something it's like you said, when you take the kid out of the environment and literally show them this world for what it is.
It changes their concept.
Yeah, when you go and talk to someone of different races and just live with them and get to know them, you find out how many ridiculous stories you had in your head.
That you never experienced. It was just something that was told to you.
You never caricature.
Exactly. You never experienced this in your life. You never went through no traumatic experience with this person, but you were told that this will happen.
It's like looking at
this is is what you will experience with these people.
Dude, you know the portraits that they do at baseball games where they really exaggerate?
Oh, the characters? Yeah.
That's your image of this entire race or culture of people. Is this goofy ass picture?
Absolutely, and you get to know them by,
oh wow,
you're really fucking cool.
Yeah. And you find a lot of like, oh, we're human.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of core similarities between us, and a lot of the differences are pretty fucking, like you said, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially the food.
Oh my god, man! Listen,
dude, getting introduced to Cambodian.
Oh man!
Shout out to the Chems.
Yes, listen. So they have a bunch of Cambodian restaurants around here in South Florida. I used to go there. And Vietnamese. So like, there's a Vietnamese and Cambodian place I used to get. I think they call it localized. Like it was just so good. I'd never seen it. I was like, I don't know what it is. It tastes good, right? It was just really good food.
Ooh, what was it?
I can't tell you, but it was delicious.
Oh, there you go.
I can't explain it to you. It was just like
key to a lot of the food.
But it's like I was like, oh, I just looked like a whole bunch of stuff. I said, but I'm gonna eat it. And when I ate it, I was like, man, this is good. Like what is also, what is it called? Kimchi? What is kimchi? What is that? Is it Vietnamese or Cambodian? It might be Vietnamese, right?
I'm not sure, but I've heard of
so like it looks weird. It looks slimy.
And it smells
even weird. I'm like, I don't like that. But you eat it like, oh, this is good.
And you feel good.
Yes, I was just like, it's just, like I said, it's all about what we perceive and what we're taught to look at things. But when you experience on your own, you get to get an understanding.
Yes, there's something undeniable about that rubber to the road.
Yep, you get to get the understanding of it.
Oh, that does tell you the importance of the story, for how often people believe so intensely these caricatures that they only ever heard about, right?
Yeah.
By effective storytellers.
Absolutely.
Never actually saw. To admit this, I'm kind of sad and upset and disappointed, but it's very eye-opening to realize this. In a lot of movie culture I've recognized growing up, you'll see a lot of black people portrayed as the gang member. And I've noticed if I'm just observing my instincts, my emotions, when I'm going about daily life, if I'm in a gas station and it's nighttime and a white kid walks by and he's in like a hoodie, baggy clothes, I won't feel like I'll be a little on edge because it's nighttime and nervous about people. But if I notice a black kid wearing the same thing, I notice my adrenaline spikes just a little bit more. My stress levels go up a little more. I'm like, fuck. The stories have had an impact on me. Yeah. And so my brothers, the best friends in the world, are black, and I've had wonderful African-American relationships with people from all different sorts of communities. But it's interesting to notice the narrative still. The
narrative that exists in your head. Believe me, I understand that. Like, see, you don't have the direct correlation with being scared of white people. I do. Right? Because the stories were told in my head. Right? So it's just like the little, the weirdo kid with the gun under the hoodie, and he's mad because he's been bullied all his life. I said, if he approached me for something, asked me for a change, I don't know if he told me he might shoot me or something, or take out an assault rifle, or put some chloroform on my face and end up in his basement. Because, he's been bullied all his life. So it's just, again, we handle things and see things differently. Right? Like, I promise you this, even dating white women, I stayed away from them the majority of my life. Just because of the stories. O.J. Simpson. Kobe Bryant. Like, all these, I'm like, and it's like, not just low-level stories, big celebrity stories. You deal with these white women, and you get into a position that you don't want to be in. And they don't care. They're going to roof you, and you will be the dealer. So I stay away from them. 100%.
Yeah, man. I need to get more involved in, I'll still say black now because it's called white and side note, but you get more involved in black culture. That seems to be a part of America that I only know very much through stories.
Okay.
That the reality of it seems to be a big part of America. The reality of it is something I don't just stand on the ground level through experience. Because the whole idea of being afraid of people, it's stupid to say this, but I almost didn't know that existed.
It exists. It exists. And people don't understand, a lot of black people are afraid of white people. Like 100%. And it's so crazy because, and it's sad within a sense, because you don't see a lot of black people doing crime to white people. Because they are 100% scared of I'm a serve life for punching somebody or doing something to a white person. They're gonna roof.
What's roofing? Like take the roof out from
like legit. I'm gonna be in jail forever.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna throw me over the fence. I ain't never coming back. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's just, it's a lot of black on black crime. You don't see a lot of black on white crime. You don't. Because they're legit afraid of what will happen if they're involved in a black on white crime. They got a better chance of doing something to somebody black to getting off because of the differentiation of how they treat black and white people, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just down to the system, down to the science. We see it every day. A black person may go to jail for this amount of time. A white for one crime, same crime, white person may get smacked on the wrist and go home the very next day. So again, you gotta see how it's programmed in our head, and the stories we see and the things we see. To be like, just stay away from this. Stay far clear away from this. But again, it's just.
Then it's just creating segregation. And
yes,
different.
It does. It creates such a divide.
So sit down and just get to know people.
Yeah, it changes your mindset on people. You think one way and then you understand it's another. Like I have so many great white friends that we hang out with. Like I'm talking about like they're like brothers. And like we'll do anything for each other. But it's because we sat down, we got to know each other.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. There's some amazing studies that one of the best ways for people to lose these ridiculous caricatures and racist ideas you have in your head is just working together. You're just in this office all day and you have to interact with each other. So you probably don't want to have a bad relationship with this person because you're going to spend a large chunk of your life with them. And then you get to know them. You ever see American History X?
No, I didn't.
It's a hardcore movie about a guy he's a Nazi in America, and he ends up going to prison. And while he's in prison, he finds out that the Nazis in prison they don't believe the ideology. They're essentially just gangsters. And he's trying to get them to follow the beliefs, but they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? We're trying to like move drugs through here. We're trying to get money. Get out of here with your philosophical bullshit. And he ends up befriending this black guy while they're working, in laundry at the bottom. And he ends up losing his racist beliefs over his years in prison just from this one guy who ends up having a good relationship with. And when you see that actually done by studies, people in the workforce, yeah, man, you ever hear the song "I'm Not Racist"?
Yes, I heard that. Yeah,
that is an emotional. I get emotional every time I hear that song because it clicks to something deep going on in America right now, or at least I have a sense that something like that's going on right now, where we need to just sit down at the table and have those uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely,
and respectfully,
and respectfully have, because we haven't had those conversations. Like we have these race wars, we have these political things going on, and we get so much divided on color and culture, but we have yet to sit down and really talk about the true issues of why we're so at a division.
That's because you're totally wrong, and I don't need to hear anything you're saying because I know I'm right about everything.
Right? So it's just like, so you look at it, then you have one part with the black side, like I said, one part with the white side, and it is what it is. But to come together and really talk about these issues, that's when we start to get at the belly of this beast, where some of this stuff is created just so we can have checks and balances in America.
Elaborate.
So, it's basically, America has caused division for a very long time, right? And this is you've seen it firsthand. Our presidents of the United States, these people were being, black men, black people were being murdered by the people that we pay taxes to protect us. And it was happening at an alarming rate. And he said nothing. So if the United States government and the head of the United States government is not saying anything about this, that creates a true division about what's going on in America and how America looks at black people. So how we look at America, we call America what? White America. So if America is shunning us, we think white America is shunning us. So it's a true storytelling, like you said, storytelling point that we see every day, but it's not being set down and really told. People are not understanding that. Y'all have some different types of rights than we do, and it's broken down like this, right? Like I said, I could do a crime, I served these many years. He could do a crime, he may go home tomorrow. But we did the same. So America has caused so much division just by governing us differently, right? Just by governing us differently. Well, so you govern us differently, we feel different, you get treated differently. So it breaks down to just the United States government, like just do what you say you don't do. Like you got, the Jews, they got their money, right? For what they went through, right? The Indians got their money, right? Their land, whatever they need. Blacks didn't get anything. They got it. We built this world on our backs. Oh yeah, you call America a company. We built this company to run billions of dollars. Oh, sorry. Like, we built this America, this global corporation, right, on the backs of our ancestors. They got nothing. Matter of fact, they kept them in more captivity longer so they can get another harvest. We got nothing. But everybody else got their due. Again, separation, division, makes us look different, makes us look less than. Right? That has to be fixed. Not to get deep, but that's one of the things that has to be fixed. That's how I look at it.
Are you talking about reparations?
Yeah. Like all that has to be fixed. Like I'm not saying, my thing, every black person, because every black person is not a true descendant of a slave.
So what would be some of your ideas for a practical way to implement that?
You could just actually start giving them the land that was taken from them in the South. You give them that's millions of dollars worth of the South. You ain't got to give them cash. You ain't got to give them money.
I'm not aware of this history. Whose land was taken in the South?
So a lot of the land that were, I would say, a lot of the African Americans, because what happened was when they were free slaves, they were given land, but you had to work the land. But again, in the South, it still was so much. It was so much murder going on, and it was undocumented. You know what I mean? So I'm not staying down there to get murdered. I'm gonna leave. So the land was taken over. So everybody supposed to get 40 acres in a year, right? That was the deal. Because again, if you take this from us, you're like, okay, cool, now you're free. Yeah, slaves that lived on owners' land, they didn't have a home, they didn't have roots, they didn't have a family to go to. So that was supposed to be given. Nobody ever got that. None of them. The ones that were free up north, they worked for their land, they worked for their money. And that was work on their own. But then also, you have the people that, Black Wall Street that built planes, buses, doctors. You got burnt down to the ground. Yeah. Their families need their, you shouldn't be able to do that.
I don't recall, I don't even recall learning about that in school. No. I wasn't a great student, I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, but no, I didn't learn about that in school. I didn't learn that until I was in college. How they built their own little city, their own little transportation
thriving.
Thriving. Like, we don't like it. Boom.
And it wasn't just like a few people Molotovs. They had like planes coming in.
No, they had planes, boats. They had their own port.
No, I mean when they were attacking them, they were like it was legit.
No, yeah, they're like dropping bombs. Like they were dropping bombs. Where did they get planes from?
That's it.
Where did they get planes from? Who got planes?
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Who got planes? How do you get the very, or what they saw, the okay to fly through, coastal land. They usually shoot planes out because they're looking, we was at war for a very long time, so they're shooting shit out the air. You got the okay to drive over a city and drop bombs?
That shit. How do I? Oh, the thought flew out of my head. Fuck.
But no, I'm just saying, like, that's the type of things that went on that it causes a wedge between black people, African American people, and the rest of the world. And they don't understand, why is it so racist? Why is there so much tension? Oh, you okay. If you don't know, then I don't. Like, just look at the history. We always been given the bad end of the stick. From down to legal, down to how we're treated. It goes on. It just hasn't been corrected. It hasn't been corrected at all. Like even right now, they were, Trump incited these riots and, called it the Chinese flu. So everybody that was, had Asian descent and was being attacked in every city, right? What they do? They made a whole piece that, listen, this is called a hate crime, man. You can't go on doing to these kids, right? Come on. Everybody's getting what they need to protect their culture, but us.
It's definitely something I need to look more into.
Right? It's crazy. So how do you think we're supposed to look at America? Like, y'all, they helping us? They're helping us. Right? So it has to be repaired. Them conversations, like you said, people and cultures really sitting down and talking, that's the only way it's being repaired. That's the only way, because the government's not going to do it. They're not. They took me like, oh, I see that. They just overturn, Roe versus Wade. They trying to take women's rights away. Like, come on. What else they gonna take back? Like, you gotta think of stuff like that. We're like, again, and I tell people, it's white America. Like the ones that they feel as though they are, and I ain't talking about the nice white people that, we hang out at beer gardens and, we chill with and we have real deep conversations. I'm talking about like the white America, the Donald Trump America that he created, right? Because then you have these people that think, they are, they're pure blood white and they are supremacist to everything else. That's the people that are inciting a lot of this stuff. And it's terrible. It's terrible.
That's a weird disconnect I've been noticing as I've been exploring and talking to people who have liked Trump. I've noticed that a lot of them, at least in my conversations, haven't treated at least me if any at all, if they haven't treated me differently in any way that I've noticed. They've usually been relatively respectful. There doesn't seem to be this, as I've talked and I've kind of pressed with questions, a deep-rooted racist hate, and maybe they're hiding it or something along those lines. But a lot of it doesn't seem to be rooted in race or sexism, and I'm sure some of it does, don't get me wrong. But when I'm looking at the majority of people who follow Trump, and I still have a lot more investigating, sure, I'm still very confused because there seems to be a disconnect between the narrative I've heard of this basket of deplorables and the people who I've actually spoken with, who've generally been respectful, I've had decently intelligent conversations with, and it really just makes me wonder, why are so many people supporting him? Why is there a room for a character like Trump to gain so much of a following?
It's how can I say it's so the way Trump immobilizes people is because he's like, they look for somebody like, how would I say? They look for somebody to be the asshole for them, right? Trump is the asshole people look for. Like, we need America. We don't like something, we need to say it. We need to tell them this is what it is. We need to drop bombs on them. We need to shut up. We're America, right? That's what Trump was giving me. That, we gonna have a president that we don't like what China doing. We gonna throw bombs over there and blow them to shreds. That's the narrative people give. People in America, they love it. They love it because they want to be a powerhouse. Everybody wants to control everything, right? And again, it's all about, being greater than everybody else, right? And that's what Trump gives. We're better than everybody. We're America, right? If we don't like it, we stomp it out until we don't see it. And that's what he's giving. And he was like, he don't hold his mouth. It was a Chinese disease, the Chinese flu. It don't matter. They brought it over here. Like, he gave different life to different narratives. And everybody that was for Trump, they were for him for the way he spoke and the things he said about America, about, bringing money back, and making sure we're the powerhouse, making sure they can borrow money from us, not us borrowing money from him. I get it. That's why a lot of people supported him too, right? But the other side of that was banners and everybody else having these lowbrow conversations in these little towns where racism truly exists, right? And that's where it lived and that's where it thrived at. Because I promise you, if the racist side of his campaign did not exist, he would never be president. Because they were a an insertion of voters that never voted. They couldn't even pinpoint or target where these votes came from because the people never voted. It's all about engaging that dialogue, right? About gauging that dialogue, and that's what that side that what's it called, Brainer? What's his name? Brainer, right? What's his name? The Bright organization.
Bright Park?
Yeah. So they were having a lot of conversations like this, right? And this is where you've seen in different parts of town there's a lot of racist stuff going on. They're showing the Confederate flag, they're flying the Confederate flag, they're wrapping themselves in the Confederate flag. That's the flag that try to eradicate black people in the South. Still to this day, I get scared. If I drive, if you go between Delaware and Maryland, like what's that, Route 8, going towards it, you still see some Confederate flags in the back road. I legit pray I don't break down in that back road, because they ain't coming to help, right? So again, it gave a different narrative for them people. It gave them, oh, we have one. We got somebody for us. So now we can go here, we can go and say what we want, we can do what we want. We can go out here and we can go back to the good old days, right? Make America great again. And that's how America's great. We always getting things done for free by enslaving people.
That was a big thing that opened my eyes to that.
Right, make America. When was America great? Like,
there's a huge portion of America that it wasn't great.
Yeah, like, when was America great? Please let me know last time it was great. In their eyes, it was great when white people were on top and everybody else was below. That's the language they're in. And he wore that hat because that's what he did. But again, you see what you want to see. I have black friends that are Republicans that voted for Trump because they seen what they wanted to see. Oh, no, I know he's racist. He got some racist people in his stuff. But we're talking about the business aspect of this. What? Okay. We'll see if this goes into a civil war, what side you truly going to be with.
Yeah, man. The fact that was talking and still talking.
It's still talking.
Look at that pigeon. Looks like I've never seen a black and white cow looking pigeon.
Oh, man.
Okay, yes.
Right?
But that's a what a world we go from civil war conversations to cow-like pigeon.
Right?
But that was one of the main reasons I started this podcast, is hearing that talked about with an amount of emotional intensity that made me think maybe we are close to something like a civil war. But it's still not really clear to me. Why? Maybe I have blinders on.
No, it's not. This is the thing that's going to happen. So the first thing they did was send back the Dreamers to Mexico, right? The next thing they've done is take away women's rights to their body, right? They're going to try to keep on taking away rights, and people are getting tired of it, right? Then it's going to be like, oh, so you're not representing us. You're taking all our rights away that we value. Next, they're going to try to take the rights away from the gays and lesbians that self-marry and preservation for their relationships and everything else. Oh, so they're going to take away gay marriage, and they're going to take away that. They're going to pick at that, try to separate that, break that down, right? They're going to try to start taking away rights a little bit at a time. And people are getting tired of it because you're not going to tax me if you're not representing me. Way back in the day, no taxation without representation. That's going to come back into play, right? It's going to create chaos. We're going to probably be in some war because you're not going to keep on taking our rights away, and then you're going to stay quiet about it. And then it's going to cause a division again, right? And then we're going to be at war.
It's so fucking wild to see that, and to think, going back to racism, my understanding of racism is that the core of it comes, generally speaking, from a misunderstanding about race and the differences, right? And to see it as simple as it's a misunderstanding, and you're filling in that realm of understanding with an inaccurate story. And maybe that's an oversimplification, but to speak overly for a second, that all it took was a narrative that wasn't true, that some people believed in, to create something as extreme as a civil war or a racist hate crime and tensions going necessarily racist, just in many different realms of misunderstanding where people aren't communicating with one another. They're not communicating with people that disagree with them. They're not communicating with intelligent people that disagree with them. So they can actually understand a well-defined point of view that they don't believe in. And then you're filling up these caricatures in your head of these evil, these demons that you have living within your country. And then when you get to a point where you're living with demons, well, naturally the next step is kill them.
Kill them. Mm-hmm. Got to go to war with them. And that's the sad part of it. You know what I mean? But it might come to pass. It might come to pass because people are, like you said, these stories have grown from over centuries, and they're being compiled on top of each other. But then you're compiling them with the government doing certain things that feel like, oh, you're swaying a different side, right? And we're going to we don't like that side. So you're not going to keep on taking things away, take away. It becomes clear that, you know, we have to fight for our right. So some people are going to say it's fair, and some people say it's not.
Do you think there's a chance for things to be de-escalated before they reach a fever pitch?
I feel they can, but what we talked before is going to be on the United States government to do that.
Communication with the United States government.
With the communication of the United States government to understand the laws and how to govern the people as a whole, not as separate cultures and individuality. They got to govern as a whole.
Have you ever seen a politician running for, I'll just say any office, who felt actually they truly wanted to represent everybody and create a prosperity for everybody, or at the very least, the very vast majority?
So there's one politician that I work with, and I believe that in his heart, he believes in the vast majority of the people, and he does it for everybody in his district. And I would say that's Kenyatta Johnson. Whether you white, whether you black, Asian, if you live in his district, he wants to make sure you have quality of life. And that's what he breaks it down. He said, no matter what in my district, everybody deserves that quality of life, quality education, safety. All these things are important. No matter who you are in my district, you want to make sure you have and opportunities. And that's what he prides himself. You can see him doing anything from hanging out in the basketball court with some black and white kids, Asian kids playing basketball, to going to a dog park, kissing dogs, walking. You know, so again, he's just the type of person I feel as though he does the work. He actually is there for the people. And that's one politician I feel that does this. And I see him. A lot of politicians, they talking, but, you know, behind the scenes you hear different language. So, you know, but that's one person I feel over the time of knowing him from before he was in his position, he was doing the work. Not, oh, I'm going to do the work now because I want a position. Right? He was doing it before him. So it's instilled in him what he's been doing, helping his community, giving back, things like that.
Have you seen some of the policies he passed that follow up with his kindness towards people?
Well, one of the policies I know he passed was when he did the, I would say, when a lot of gentrification started to happen in his neighborhood, he started to pass laws where they couldn't come in and take the house, like buy the debt, and then make the debt high enough where the person could not stay in their home. You know, they go to court, we want the house, or you gotta pay us this. So he kind of he stopped them from the developers going and doing that. That's what we're doing. Oh, this house got a lien on it. Let me go buy the lien. And then, like, you know, sometimes interest rate go up, and if the lien can't be paid, they're allowed to take the home. So that's a lot of the developers doing that. So he stopped that. He stopped them from doing it. Also, you know, the raising of the taxes on seniors. In his community, he made sure he fought for that to get passed. Because if I have this amount of money, and my taxes go up every year about, 20%, how can I keep up with that? With my money that's not, and my money can't expand. It's only at this level until my last days. Where's this extra money coming from? So he put the homestead exemption plan in for elders, where at a certain age, your taxes will stay here. and it will not go up. I don't care if the house next door to you is $1 million. These are your taxes. Because you earn that right. So because now the development don't mean like you don't pay for your house, you don't pay your mortgage, you're paying for 20, 30 years. Now you can't live in your house because somebody want to come build a 4-story house with a rooftop on top and put marble and granite next to it. That's unfair. So he just set a lot of checks and balances in place.
Yeah, right. Being outside.
Outside, right? Checks and balances in place to make sure his people, they live comfortably in their community. And I appreciate that.
Interesting. For a second, just for the sake of argument, not just for the sake of argument, for the sake of trying to understand the opposition, I wonder if there's a good argument that can be made for moving people out of the community and saying, okay, we want to raise this communities, the prices of things in this area, qualities of houses and restaurants in the area. But in order for a restaurant that charges more to be able to thrive here, we're going to need people who can actually pay that sort of income. So maybe it makes sense to try and kick the people out. Even as I say that, it sounds fucked up.
Sounds terrible. You can't even say it. You can't even say it just to make it sound like, for sake of argument, it sounds terrible.
But they can just buy a house.
They can buy,
else.
but for what money? Everywhere in Philadelphia, it's going out the roof. Right now, they're buying lots for $120,000. They're buying dirt for $120,000 or something. Where are they buying a house from?
Guess you can go to the suburbs to buy.
Yeah, and the tax is what, $20,000 a year, $18,000 a year, and that's for the school district alone. You know what I mean? And they don't have no kids; they're retired. So why are they paying those many taxes? You get what I'm saying? So it's just it doesn't make sense for them to allow that to happen. Because I should be able to be 65, live in my house comfortably, and you can build all around you want. I may come out and have a beer at the beer garden too, but I should have to lose my house because somebody else with $1 million house next to my house within the city. It shouldn't work like that. I should be able to be comfortable. And if you want my house that bad, pay me for it. I ain't no problem with that. And that's the thing too. Like, why don't they leave? Yeah, give me enough money and I'll leave. No, you're trying to lowball. Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, I'll give you $100,000. Where I'm going to $100,000. You about to redo this house and sell it for $600,000. You want to give me $100,000? Nah, I'm gonna stay right here. Mm-hmm. So if you give them actually better choice of money in a buyout, they may take it. Because you give me $200,000, I might go in the home for the rest of my days. Give them $100,000, I live the rest of my days there and spend the rest of $100,000 flying around, seeing my family, my kids, whatever. Cool. But no, you want a low ball. I give you $100,000 for your house. Because we got to gut it and redo it. That's your fault. I ain't tell you to do all that. But this is what I want. Right? So it's true. If you want them bad, that gone. Start giving proper buyouts. They'll leave. But they ain't leaving if you're talking about $90,000. Where they gonna live for $90,000? Where? When they selling dirt for $125. Even in Westfield, you go to Westfield now by the zoo, lots are going for $80,000. Catch a lot.
So where you've been growing?
Yeah. So where you want these people to move? Where you want to move? So start buying right. Stop lowballing people and buying outright. If you want to be a big time developer, I'd say, give the right amount. They'll give you the house. Hands down, they would. You think they'd fight you on $250,000? And they 65 years old, 70 years old? You think they're gonna fight you? They're like, nah, take it. Have it. When you want me out? Mm-hmm. Right? No, they want to give them low money. So you always can win, but it's about how you want to win.
How to win the right way.
Yeah, how to win the right way. Like, come on, be fair. You got to sell this house for almost $500,000. Go ahead, cut the check.
All right. What would be one last good question to ask them? Or if you have any questions, feel free to shoot.
Yeah, I got a question. So we talked about like how my situation. We never talked about yours.
What would you like to know?
How did you get to your accident?
So I was a teenager fucking around in a construction site. Imagine a Walmart without any drawers or aisles in it. It's just a husk of a building. friend there. We're fucking around. We're about to leave and find a forklift. As we're leaving, my friend happens to go on it and see, oh, these are in this forklift. So naturally, one thing leads to another. We're driving around. I'm hanging off the side of the forklift like the genius I was. And my leg got caught between a support beam on the building and the forklift while it was moving, and I jumped off right before impact. And yeah, then they got caught between the two and got messed up, and they had to amputate it.
Wow.
Yes. That was an interesting
Wow. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, because we never talked about it. I was like, how do we, because when we left, I was like, I never seen this place. I was like, next time I see him, I'm probably seeing him about accident. But yeah, I did not know that happened like that.
I go between saying that and a shark bite, but that's the real one, yeah. Oh, that was one of the best parts, man, because I have some funny friends, and while I was in the hospital doing my thing, school started up, and people, somehow, the news spread throughout the school, so a lot of people are asking my friends, like, what happened? And I have one friend who was just making up different stories every time. There was a shark bite here, oh, he fell off a cliff somewhere else. Oh, like...
He was hiking, had to cut his leg off because a tree fell on him, so he survived.
Snake bit it. Had to suck the venom out, but then we had to wrap it. They couldn't save it when we got out. Yeah, man.
I did not know. That happened. Okay.
Which is crazy. You talk about being young, doing those adrenaline pumping things. We did a bunch of things like that where we got away scot-free. But sometimes
it goes too far.
Yes.
I can understand.
Yes. But we learn.
Absolutely.
And strangely, overall, I might say it's worth it now. Like, if you ask me would I go back in time and get my leg back, but I'd have to lose all the good things I've gotten since then, I don't know if I would take that. It's weird. And obviously, if you ask me the day after, I'd go, yes, please, give me the leg back. But after 7-ish years, there have been so many good things that have come from that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I understand. I get it. I definitely do. Because, like I said, the same here. Like, I've only been 8 months that I have had this happen to me. And the blessings and the people I've met, I would have never met if I didn't go through this situation. So, I can understand.
all right, Jermaine.
Been a pleasure.
Ditto.
Man.
Thanks,
Been
sir.
a pleasure.